Good morning, evening, or afternoon. I would like to read to you a selection from my book, available either electronically or physically, either way from Amazon. Here Come the Men in Gray, available as one story in the book, Revised Short Science Fiction Collection of Jack Bragen, available on Amazon. Here Come the Men in Gray by Jack Bragen, originally appeared in Street Spirit newspaper. No one could hear the sound because it was ever present. Its various messages penetrated people's nervous systems. The effect was subliminal. Partly advertisements, partly propaganda, and part of the sound consisted of threats as to what would happen to citizens if they failed to obey the government. It all mixed together into a steady, homogeneous background noise. Meg Thomas had begun to hear the sound, and because of this they had given her brain surgery. The surgery had given her sunken, shadowy eyes. She was hard of hearing, and to her the sound was a monotone murmur. Also, Meg kept a journal. She naively believed no one could find or access her journal because it didn't have physical existence. She kept it in her mind. On Wednesday morning, Meg prepared to go to her job. She was a groundskeeper at a complex of offices. Her job had rendered her calluses on the hands and a firm set of shoulder muscles. Meg always looked forward to going to work, although this was a secret. Meg watered shrubbery after trimming it. It was lunch hour, and several employees of the nearby offices sat on a bench nearby eating tuna sandwiches. Meg realized that the lunchgoers were watching her. She turned toward them and returned their gaze. "Why do your eyes look like that?" a man asked. He wore a hideous yellow dress shirt and a striped blue necktie from some unknown time. Shirts and ties had made a comeback after being out of existence for nearly 5 centuries. "Why can't you put on some decent clothes? My gardening is going to wither from your ugliness." Meg was accustomed to this kind of banter, and it was no indication of malice on either side. "Are you hearing voices?" "Only your whiny, effeminate voice." "Would you like a tuna sandwich? I have an extra one. I promise you it isn't poisoned." Meg put down her garden hose and sat on the bench next to the office workers. "If my supervisor learns of this, I'll probably be flogged." Meg was serious. Sitting and enjoying was prohibited without proper licensing, and even then was only permitted under strictest of guidelines. The pain of flogging was no laughing matter. Even the most fortified people were terrified of the pain by nerve induction produced by the punishment machine. People might be punished once or twice in adolescence, and it created a lifetime of unquestioning obedience. Also, there was a limited permissible amount of speech, and words like thinking and upset or anything having to do with a person's interior were prohibited. You also couldn't say the word government. Meg took a bite of the sandwich and realized there was something different about the gentleman in the awful yellow shirt. The other workers didn't seem unusual as they blithely ate their tuna while keeping their eye on their timepieces. The man was smiling. Meg Thomas had only seen a smile a couple of times in her life, and this had been followed soon after by disappearance of the person who smiled. "The government can't hurt us." He continued to smile. "You should try it. It's perfectly safe." Meg practically jumped out of her skin. Where was this person's fear? Something was wrong with him. "Are you capable?" Meg ventured. It was forbidden to ask how someone felt or to use the word okay. Thus the person was left with, "Are you capable?" or perhaps, "Are you sick?" Yet the latter question was a stretch and could only be used if you saw a person either vomiting or bleeding. "I'm fine. There is nothing to fear." The man stood from the bench, put out his arms, and began to run around like a child, mimicking flying. Soon the men in gray uniforms arrived. It took only a minute or two for them to show up. Two men restrained him by his arms. One of them jabbed the errant man in the neck with a hypodermic needle and with no gentleness whatsoever pushed the plunger home. The violator immediately went pale and rigid. The drug created rigidity and not limpness, as it made the violator easier to carry to disposal. The two men roughly threw the now deceased violator into the back of their pickup truck and got in and drove away. A sample of a story in my book. Some of the sci-fi in the book is a bit grim, but it promises to be a book that will make you feel something. So please buy my book and read it and post a review. Thank you.